Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final game of the Grand Finals of the Raidcall EMS One Spring Edition LAN Finals held in Katowice, Poland. This is a match between Navi and Rox.KIS. Rox.KIS, if you have not already watched the games, did manage to take Game 1. Navi took Game 2, and it's all come down to this ace match, as we'll see if Rox.KIS can recover, as Navi played a very good Game 2. And Navi's draft in Game 1 was not the best, so we'll see if this match can hopefully be a bit more even, as Rox.KIS, definitely a very strong team, but Navi the clear favorites heading into this last match. And just gonna give you some updates on what I'm gonna be doing. I have some coaching VODs that I will be uploading relatively soon. I might just upload a VOD of those and a commentary like over the next 2 days, so you might see 2 videos a day for the next couple days. There's also a lot of Premier League matches. I might want to do some G1 League matches if I feel like it. Hopefully I can get a co-caster with me, like SK or somebody like that. Maybe Lumi if he's interested. If I find time to do a Dota 1 match, I will, because the GEST April did finish, but the matches thus far do not look very interesting. And not gonna lie, I don't really have that much incentive into going into it, but I will try to do my best. And yep, back to the coaching VODs. If you do want coaching, I am more than happy to help you out. Just email me at bballin773@gmail.com and we can talk. It is paid, but it is something that the first people that I did it with did enjoy quite greatly, and hopefully you'll see that very soon when it does get uploaded. But anyways, back to this match. As this second pick or second ban phase is going, or the second ban of the first pick phase is going by rather slowly, Navi, after taking him out, does decide to ban out the Magnus, and this is interesting because Navi does have the first pick, and Magnus has been trending up very highly recently. Meanwhile, Rox.KIS have to decide whether they want to give up the Bat, the Keeper, or the Nyx, or perhaps they could give up all 3. Keeper has not been as high priority a target these days as Bat and Nyx, and even Darkseer and Magnus, but he's still considered one of the most powerful supports in the game, and he can really sort of just open up a lot of strategies with your team. If you sort of have a carry that wants to devote a lot of his time farming and still make it to the team fights, pick up Keeper. If you want a super strong late game hero on your side and you need to turtle it out so you can get to that point, pick up a Keeper. And Navi, I guess they have something in mind because they decide to go with the Keeper. Meanwhile, Rox.KIS probably going to debate between NA and that's it, NA, and we'll see what choice they want to help solidify that lineup with. But last game, Rox.KIS did choose the NA, as we are going to see the NA make it through. They didn't really have a good synergistic lineup. They had a Wisp Chaos Knight NA and some other heroes, and the synergy was just not very clear. They had Enigma and a Gyrocopter, so NA couldn't really gank that well, and the team fight wasn't really all that spectacular. So hopefully Rox.KIS can help solidify their lineup a little bit more clearly this time, and sort of have a more clear goal, as Navi going to pick up the Rubik as well as the Phantom Lancer. So once again, Navi gonna secure their late game by picking up the PL, and usually Navi picks up very aggressive lineups, but I guess they too have succumbed to the safest hero, or one of the safest choices for a carry hero in the game. And at the very least, the strategy is quite easy to execute. You just pick up Keeper Light, you have Phantom Lancer farm up, and it's very strong against Leicester, because Leicester is a single target DPS dealer, and Phantom Lancer just creates a lot of illusions. And this might force Rox.KIS into perhaps securing themselves a Gyrocopter pick, again, if they want to go late game against a PL, or Rox.KIS could devote themselves a bit more to the early stages of the game, but rest assured, if Rox.KIS do not pick up the Gyro with this pick, you can be very well sure that Navi's going to ban out with their second ban phase. But we are going to see Kuroki, Rubik, and Havos Phantom Lancer. Once again, Kuroki's Rubik has been top of the mark, as he has just been playing out of his mind. And Puppy's Keeper Light is gonna be pretty impressive as well, as Navi gonna pick up their first 2 supports, so they need a Dendy hero as well as a Phonic hero. And usually the Phantom Lancer, your list of off-lane heroes do become a little bit more limited. You can't really pick up a Lone Druid because both of those heroes need quite a bit of farm and quite a bit of room, and Lone Druid is not really the most powerful early game hero. Neither is Phantom Lancer, but he can handle himself. Spirit Lance does do quite a bit of damage. But I expect this game for Phonic, we're going to see something like a Windrunner, maybe? Yeah, I'm not too sure what heroes Phonic will decide to go for. A lot of the heroes have been already removed from the pool. Maybe they go for Clinks again, but I think Clinks needs a little bit of time to get up as well. Meanwhile, Leicester doesn't really need that much time, and Nyx doesn't need much time either. One thing that is annoying for Rox.KIS in this game is that Lifesteal and Nyx do have the potential to go aggressive. But Lifesteal is one of the better aggressive Challenge heroes because he has the Rage, he does a lot of damage, he's pretty survivable, has a lot of base movement speed, and Nyx does have an AoE stun, can use mana burn, and can survive reasonably well despite Carapace, provided he gets sufficient enough levels. But they're going to be headed into a Keeper of the Light, and they pick up Shouting, so this may indicate that they might be considering that aggressive challenge possibility, but Keeper of the Light just is so annoying to deal with. But if you do have Rage as well as Spike Carapace, you can mitigate a lot of the Keeper of the Light harassment. But Shadow Demon sort of fade out a little bit in terms of high tier for the Western sports. Again, some teams like QPAD, they play Shadow Demon very, very high regard, and you can see that always being picked and banned in the first phase. But these days, Shadow Demon, at least in the Western scene, from what I've been watching, has not been placed in nearly as high as a regard, and has sort of faded out. Western teams these days playing a bit more passively, and Shadow Demon, a pretty aggressive support, sets up ganks, does a lot of damage, and can roam very effectively. And you can see Navi, like I mentioned, banning out the Gyrocopter, banning out the Warlock, because they know in a 5v5 lineup in the early stages of the game, Warlock could give them a lot of troubles. Even though Phantom Lancer, once the 20-minute mark does come up, once he gets to the Defusal, can easily purchase on the golem and kill it. I guess they really just fear up to the 20-minute mark where Warlock is at his strongest. Before he gets to Agnums, at least. Rox.KIS continue to ban out offlane heroes that Funnick could perhaps navigate his way to victory with. Gonna be out the Storm Spirit as well for Dendi, recognizing that Storm Spirit is a pretty strong hero, and I guess Rox.KIS do not want to do the Lifesteal Storm Spirit combination. I would think that would be pretty strong, but Storm Spirit maybe isn't the best mid laner. He's quite capable of handling himself, especially with Bottle Crow, but I think Rox.KIS really want to win all of their lanes. But I don't know, Storm Spirit I feel like would have been a strong choice because you have a way to initiate on Keeper Light and Phantom Lancer with the Lifesteal inside of you, so I don't know, I think Rox.KIS could have perhaps chosen the Storm Spirit themselves, but maybe they're worried that since they don't have the first pickup after the second ban, Navi would have snatched up the Storm Spirit themselves. Navi again about the Nature's Prophet, so a lot of offlane heroes have been removed. Lone Druid is pretty much and Enigma, I guess, which we saw Rox.KIS handle in the last game, are pretty much the only two heroes that come up at the top of my head, unless the Navi themselves are predicting that Rox.KIS are going to run an aggressive challenge and perhaps dodge it by staying their challenge to this offlane. But I guess we'll find out very, very shortly. Rox.KIS going to be at the Queen of Pain. Keep in mind, Nyx could be played as a mid laner. Usually Dendi doesn't like to play the mid lane Nyx on Navi's side, but I do not know if Solo likes to play that mid solo Nyx assassin too often. But Navi going to pick up the Beastmaster. Pretty interesting choice, as this will help amplify the push, and while Rox.KIS push down one tower, if Navi can get the split push going down another tower, that would be very, very useful. Innerbeast is one of the best auras in the game, in my opinion, if they're not the best aura. Well, Precision Aura can definitely give it a run for its money by Drow. But Beastmaster is going to be a very strong pusher, and also it gives them a way to lock down the Lifesteal. The Roar does go through the Lifesteal Rage quite easily, and having that Lifesteal being stunned for quite a long duration is going to be very, very useful for Phantom Lancer to get going in the early stages of the game. And of course, Beastmaster, pretty strong against NA as well, has a Hawk to give him vision. Has the potential to go into a Necro 3, as Rox.KIS is going to pick up a Tinker. I'm not too sure what I think about the Tinker choice in this game, because Tinker, more often than not, is played for the late game, as he is quite strong early game, but he doesn't get the maximum potential out of his items unless he goes for the late game build like a Hex. But by that time, Phantom Lancer should be quite powerful, as, it will be an offlane Beastmaster being played by Funnick, it'll be Templar Assassin being played by Dendi in the mid lane, and TA against Tinker should be theoretically in favor of Tinker, because March can drain away their fraction quite easily. But still, Templar Assassin does give Navi a lot of ways to sort of get a bit more mid-game DPS on their side, as Rox.KIS is going to pick up the Axe. This is a really interesting lineup by Rox.KIS, as now I'm not too sure if they are going to go aggressive, because I imagine Axe will go into the jungle, as it is going to be piloted by Dread. But yeah, this should be a very, very entertaining final game of this series, as I'm very much looking forward to this game. But meanwhile, introducing the players and teams, we're going to have BCZ playing the Leicester. Once again, Dread is playing the Axe, Solo is playing the Tinker, Vanscore is playing the Shouty, and Yol is playing the Nyx. Me on the side of Navi, we're going to have Puppy playing the Keeper of the Light, Havos is playing the Phantom Lancer, Dendi is playing the Templar Assassin, Kuroki is playing the Rubik, and Funnick is going to be handling that offlane Beastmaster. Looks like Dendi was pulled a set of tangos by one of his supports, so that'll allow him to get that ball up a lot quicker, which he will definitely need against a Tinker, because I do think Tinker does win the lane. He can prevent Templar Assassin from lasting with the laser every 18 seconds or so, and Marchesheen, like I mentioned previously, does drain through the refraction quite well, and keep in mind Tinker does outrange the Templar Assassin by quite a bit until those side blades are maxed out. Meanwhile, Dread is actually positioning himself to go in aggressively, and we're going to see actually an aggressive Trylon being piloted by Rox.KIS. But they have two heroes. They have two support heroes. So they're going to lane Axe? Are they really going to lane Axe? I guess they have to. But I'm not too sure what I think about this. And Axe actually got Battle Hunger at level 1 instead of Counter Helix. I'm very, very confused, because Counter Helix just allows you to farm so much faster in the jungle, and you can just get that Battle Hunger going, max it by 7, still do a lot of damage while the Trylon is quite weak. So I'm not too sure what I think about Dread's build in this game. I don't know if Battle Hunger will really pay off, and Axe does have some mana problems. You can see he picked up 2 Clarities, or was pulled 1 Clary at the very least. But you can still only cast up to 3 Battle Hungers at level 1, and as long as Navi can last hit him, it should be okay. And Battle Hunger doesn't really, it does deal a lot of damage at level 1, but it doesn't really get going until you manage to max it at level 7, where it does up to 625 magical damage. And meanwhile, you can see Dread just going in, gonna Battle Hunger Puppey. Puppey's just gonna try to take a last hit. Illuminate's gonna fly in. Dread is gonna get lifted up in the air, taking his Spirit Lance for his troubles as well. And you can see, even though he Battle Hungered Puppey, Puppey only lost about 110 HP. So for the mana cost and for the Illuminate that he received for his troubles, I'm not too sure if that was worth it for Dread. And you can sort of understand where Rox.KIS is coming from. They recognize, okay, they have a TA who's a very strong mid-game DPS hero. They have Beastmaster who can potentially shut down the Lifestealer or the Tinker when it comes down to the late game if Beastmaster picks up a dagger, so he can blink in and teleport onto the Tinker as Shouting could take a lot of damage. Here comes Illuminate flying in. Yolo is going to stun Defensive Disruption onto the Shouting. Avos is going to take a lot of Battle Hunger damage as Vanscore will end up perishing. Avos is going to take a lot of damage, but Puppey going to block off Yolo's pursuit. Beautiful path blocking by Puppey as Yolo cannot catch up. Forced to use the Impale on 2 heroes. Puppey going to throw down more DPS. Kuroki going to get another telekinesis off. He's going to pick up the last hit, dispelling the Battle Hunger at the same time. Picks up a double kill. As holy smokes, what a play by Navi's defensive Trylon. Puppey with some clutch path blocking, saving the life of Host, forcing the Impale by the NA onto the double supports. And wow, just really remarkable play by Puppey in that instance. And, you know, we can expect this from Puppey these days, because you saw in TI2 with him blocking the Illusion Rune that Brewmaster's trying to pick up with his Lycan Woes. His micro is definitely top notch. And yeah, you're starting to see the problems of this defensive Trylon, because one of the best things about Axe is that you can just tank a lot of creep damage, but how will you really tank the creeps? I guess you have to attack or A-click the target so the creep aggro will be redirected towards you, but there's just a lot of burst damage coming in, and a lot of ranged magical damage coming in, and Amos is just saying, alright, I'll just chill out here, try to go for last hits whenever possible, but I'm not going to put myself in a risky situation. Why should I do that? But again, I think before that engagement happening, I was going to say, you can sort of understand where Rox.KIS is coming from. Tay's a very strong mid-game DPS heroes. Beastmaster does shut down the Leicester. Later on, once he gets that roar maxed up to an appropriate level, that can easily go through the rage. So Rox.KIS, they want to make sure Phantom Lancer does not really get a good start for the late game. They want to challenge him aggressively. I just don't know if this way was the best way to go about it, and I don't think Axe was really the right way to go about it if they want to go an aggressive hero, because Axe, I think he's most effective in terms of getting unmitigated levels and free farm in the jungle, as that is very safe. You can get a lot more experience, and Axe is a hero that, even if he doesn't benefit all that well from gold, which he does, he benefits quite a bit from gold, he benefits mostly from experience, and your experience at Trylon will be limited. And usually this is why sometimes in competitive matches we see Axe either in jungle or even mid lane. So I was thinking that maybe if they had Axe mid lane against the Beastmaster, as actually Beastmaster is going to be in the middle lane, recognizing that Tinker versus Beastmaster is not a good matchup for Dendi. So Dendi going to rotate to the bottom lane against Lifestealer, and you can see Dendi having a much better time in this matchup, because Lifestealer does not have any reliable way to drain through the refraction, only has the Feast to help his sustainability. As the Illuminate whiffs on the top lane due to a nice defensive disruption, but you can see Rox.KIS expending a lot of mana, a lot of resources, a lot of regeneration, as Dread is left to only a salve, and is complete out of regen. Shadow Demon, nothing going for him, only a smoker to see. And meanwhile, the side of Navi, they're lacking in terms of regen as well, but you can see they have a bit more range as telekinesis is onto Dread. Here comes the Illuminate flying in. TA does pick off Leicester on the bottom lane, as Dread gonna be forced to use the salve. Helos taking a lot of Battle Hunger damage, but again, this is only level 2 Battle Hunger. You can withstand it quite a bit. Actually, Avos might very well die to this if he does not pick up last hit right about now. Gonna give it a tango by Puppy. We'll see if he does survive. Keep in mind, you can't deny people from battle hunger. That is a common misconception, but you can't deny people who are suffering battle hunger. But Leicester was picked off on the bottom lane by the Templar Assassin, and that is going to give Dendy his level 6, and you can see BZZ really just not having a good go of things. I guess the levels are pretty much even for the most part, but Dendy just gave him a bit too much harass, and now he's a full level ahead of the Leicester. Leicester went for the Aura Venom. Not too sure why he went for this build. I mean, it does give him some slowing capacity, but I don't imagine he's going to try to chase the TA too often in the early stages of the game. And you can see BZZ actually being forced off the lane just due to the presence of the Quill Beast. Well, nicely microed by Funnick, as Funnick level 6, not going to kill the Tinker by any stretch of the imagination, as we're actually going to see Dread rotate through the jungle saying, alright, this Tron is not working out. We need to get levels up on this axe ASAP. And meanwhile, Funnick and Tinker just dancing left and right. I imagine Tinker is doing quite well. 25 CS is the highest last hitter in the game, but so far this lane stage has gone abysmally for Rox.KIS. They are not winning the lane that they tried to contest with the Phantom Lancer. They are not winning the bottom lane. Mid lane's a wash, as Tinker is actually getting lifted up into the air. Telekinesis with the war were expended, as I should have been keeping a closer eye to that, but you can sort of guess how it happened. Roar, Fade Bolt, Telekinesis. Okay. Pretty standard gank. And nice time by Navi. They waited till the 540 mark, recognizing that Rox.KIS's wards would probably be down. And you can see on the map there are no wards in play. And actually, TA, with the traps as well as the Beastmaster Hawk, means Navi will have the map advantage. So now, Rox.KIS are losing all 3 of their lanes because Tinker did manage to die, and Tinker does want the fast boots of travel. And if the other lanes are losing, as we're going to see Dendy perhaps being engaged upon on the bottom lane, Battle Hunger is going to do a lot of damage, but Dread gonna be manned up against by Dendy. One more hit would spell the end of Dread, but here comes the open wounds by BZZ. He's going to take a lot of damage, as well as defensive disruption might be forced to be used. No, Dendy is in there. The Infest, I think, just barely misses. Funnick is going to roam in, trying to pick off Dread. Defensive or offensive disruption going to be casted, but defensively to save the axe, as Dendy will pick off a creep, but ultimately 3 heroes for Rox.KIS and no heroes on the side of Navi did die in that engagement. Sort of a neutral engagement overall, but neutral engagements should favor the side with the Phantom Lancer. And again, I'm not too sure how I feel about Tinker. He's a strong laner, but Navi did a remarkable job maneuvering the fact that, okay, Dendy's gonna lose mid lane against a Tinker because his hero just doesn't have a good time. Gonna pick Beastmaster, who has a bit more range, has the axes, and has a bit more tankability up against that Tinker, and just survive. And you can see Funnick performing quite remarkably on that middle lane. And with this mid-game lineup against a Phantom Lancer, Rox.KIS really just not getting any momentum. Again, they're losing all 3 of their lanes, as Lifesteal did die on the bottom lane. And you can see his farm has been limited quite a bit by the Templar Assassin. Meanwhile, Vost going to be more than happy to clear up the CS, as Rox.KIS forced to abandon that top lane altogether. And meanwhile, Dread forced back into the fountain. BZZ going to take a lot of damage. Dendy is going to go for a meld hit. We'll get that meld off. Dendy, one more click, could have spelt the end of BZZ, but Dendy decided to play not so greedily. Instead, just going to back off, recognizing that he didn't have too much mana left in the pool. Just going to wait for his bottle to be returned. You know, the boar is going to spy out Yol as Funnick is going to roam, and here comes the roar. Spike Carapace will do a bit of damage to Funnick in return, but yeah, I guess now Rox.KIS can play with the advantage of knowing that, okay, they don't have to roar up anymore, as actually the Clovis deny the rune. I guess Funnick valued the experience a bit more heavily than the rune at that stage. Interesting decision, but not going to question it too much. And one of the problems I have with Rox.KIS's lineup is, even though they have a Tinker, how are they going to push against Navi's Keeper Light and Axe Spam? they don't have a way to set up. They don't have anything like a Storm Spirit to initiate, which is why I was really questioning the Storm Spirit ban, as we're going to see Dendy take a Soul Catcher. Gonna perhaps get purged. No, Shouting is not sufficient enough level, as here comes the open wounds to Dendy. Gonna pop the Meld. Battle Hunger is gonna fly, and Dendy will most certainly die from this engagement, which is a nice victory for Rox.KIS. Also, it's very important that Lifesteal did pick up the last hit, which is going to help boost his gold intake by a good amount. And we'll see if Rox.KIS can perhaps mount a tower push, but at this stage, Puppey, level 5 with level 3 Illuminate, and this is the main problem I have with Rox.KIS' lineup. How can they push in against the Keeper Light and Axe Spam? And if they can't push in, how are they going to manage the PL? Because even though Tinker is a very strong late game hero, I think he's pretty garbage against PL, unless he has like ridiculous detection all around him. Because Tinker, pretty strong AoE hero, but Phantom Hearts can just easily overpower him. And keep in mind, you can defuse the Ghost Scepter, which Tinker will most certainly decide to go for. And actually, it's the Radiant who are going to fortify their towers, as top tower is taking a bit of harass. And meanwhile, the Dire not getting their tower pushes just yet. I think Rox.KIS want to get a bit more experience, perhaps before applying a bit more pressure. As Dendy going to rotate to the middle lane, we're going to see a teleport up on the top lane, as Beastmaster is going to kill off the Tinker with the help of Havost, and we're going to see a Spirit Lance flying for Dread. Dread is completely out of mana, and this is why Havost is playing so aggressively. Does have to be careful with the counter helix damage, but we're going to see a Soul Catcher come in. Havost is going to take a lot of damage from the Battle Hunger and the Shadow Poison, as Kuroki going to roam in. Havost forced to teleport back to base, as that Battle Hunger was reducing him to 2 low of HP. Kuroki with the Arcane Boots moving very quickly, but the Shouty just moving a bit more capably, as here comes Battle Hunger. Soul Catcher amplified with the Battle Hunger just does so much damage. Kuroki might very well end up dying. No, pops the magic wand and gonna take the invisibility rune, but here comes Dendy on the rotation as Kuroki, ooh, a couple more ticks, one more tick, gonna salve up. I think he would have survived either way, as Funnick gonna take no, Funnick is on the side of the Keeper Light, as Dendy does kill off the Shouty, and with the traps, good rotation by Navi all around, as they are taking commanding lead in the early stages of the game. When they have a Phantom Lights on their side, this is not looking good for Rox.KIS. Meanwhile, as I sneeze, because it's starting to get that allergy season, BZZ applying a bit of pressure to that bottom lane tower. Meanwhile, Funnick gonna be more than happy to clean up that top tower, and now Beastmaster can start getting those points into Inner Beast, as Yol spotted out. Yol could be in a lot of trouble. Keep in mind, he's not even close to level 6 just yet. Dodges the Impale. Navi does adeptly. Funnick gonna be there as well. Roar is gonna be used to seal the deal on the kill. Beast gonna be summoned to give it a bit more slow. Templar Assassin Sonic Trap being popped as well. Vanscore gonna get dove upon. Vanscore will end up perishing, as Navi can complete control. Funnick gonna take a bit of damage from the Battle Hunger, but he honestly does not give too much of a damn, as Navi going to pick up their second tower. And keep in mind, I do firmly believe that Navi does have the better late game. Phantom Hearts against Lifesteal is just not a good matchup for Lifesteal. Phantom Hearts against Tinker is not a good matchup. And to back it up, you have Roar, to lock Lifesteal in place, or Tinker in place, and you have a Templar Assassin throwing down a lot of burst damage. Man, Navi's life is just going to get more and more powerful as the game goes on. As we will take a look at the gold graph, 5,000 gold lead for Navi. They've taken down 2 towers, and their hero kills mean that they get an extra 3k advantage on top of that. Experience advantage firmly in the hands of Navi as well. You can see the supports on the side of Rox.KIS suffering. Supports on the side of Navi are suffering a bit as well. As you can see, neither of those supports have it level 6 just yet. But you really want to have that Shouty in, or the NA hit that level 6 relatively soon, and Keeper Light will be able to hit that level 6 after this Roshan being cleared up. Keep in mind, Meld with that minus armor just does a lot in terms of bringing down the Roshan, and the Inner Beast Aura gonna help bring it down a bit faster as well. As Vanscore gonna call 1227 in all chat. Meanwhile, Kuroki responds with 1337. As actually that was the right time. I think that Roshan was cleared down, so it might have just been a slight mistake by Vanscore. Actually, in some games we see people jokingly type out the wrong Roshan timer, hoping that the other team doesn't write it down, but most pro teams these days do write down the Roshan timer, and they are not going to be fooled. You know, Puppey working his way towards a mechanism. BZZ, his double damage does wear off, and he could be in a bit of trouble. Trap going to be planted. BZZ just going to be forced to run away a little bit, but he is not intimidated that much. Lifesteal is still very, very powerful at this stage in the game, as he is going to go for the Armor build. But again, Phantom Lancer finished the drums, and now he can start working on the Diffusal Blade, and at this point, Phantom Lancer is looking very, very scary. And Mana Burn against this lineup on the side of Rox.KIS is going to be very, very fearsome indeed, as Axe definitely needs a lot of mana. Leicester needs his mana as well as Vanscore. Gonna get trapped, but Dendy seems like he will be approached as well. Funnick with a fast dagger gonna initiate as Kuroki snipes out the kill, saying mine. Kuroki's dominating as Navi gonna clear up this bottom tier 1 tower. Rox.KIS hoping to make something happen, but this top tower is still at full HP, so I think a rotation by Navi could potentially save it, but May Navi just don't care about that tower too much. It's not really that important in terms of map control, since Vost is helping to 5-man it up with the side of Navi. But we are going to see a teleport in by Dendy saying, I have the Aegis. Do you really want to fight me? As he pops his trap, it does manage to hit Dread, but Yol trying to scurry on out of there. Impale is going to use, as Yol did manage to hit level 6, pops the Vendetta, gonna scurry on out of there, but still a tower taken and a tower defended by Navi. Very much worth it. They might not be able to defend the middle tower, as BZZ is going to apply a lot of pressure. So Rox.KIS trying to make the most of a bad situation, but it is still a very, very bad situation that they are in. As Phantom Winter starting to get his way towards that Diffusal Blade. And you can see that illusion actually being Battle Hunger Dread. Not too happy that that happened. Meanwhile, Yol gonna get lifted up in the air by Kuroki, as Impale was stolen by Kuroki on top of that very, very strong spell to steal. BZZ gonna roam in, but TA just does so much damage. Can BZZ actually kill off TA? Or the Rubik double traps or a single trap is gonna be popped onto BZZ, but Denny deciding not to push his luck, just gonna back off, worrying about the counter teleports in, as I think Kuroki stole Infest. He did steal Infest, as BZZ gonna roam in, does pick off Kuroki, so Kuroki with a bit of a misplay right there. Open wounds onto Dendy, as Illuminate does whiff as well, and Yol did not reflect it. Dendy gonna turn around, doing a lot of damage in the meanwhile. Leicester is gonna die. Dendy, keep in mind, does have the Aegis, as Tinker is there to help reinforce the battle. Yol with the Vendetta, gonna initiate onto Vost. Dust of Appearance is gonna be popped, but where is the damage gonna come from Rox.KIS? Only 2 heroes are there, as Dendy does manage to slay the Tinker. Meanwhile, NA is gonna get rotated on. Battle Hunger gonna be casted on Vost. He has no creeps to the last hit. Beastmaster with the roar will finish off the Nyx Assassin. Cone Blade by Dread gonna clear up the kill on the Phantom Lancer, as Rox.KIS is doing okay in this extremely chaotic battle. It's a 3-for-3 engaging, but they might end up losing more. Dread gonna take a lot of minus armor. Shouting's gonna get picked off. It's a 5-for-3 engaging. And Navi pulling further and further away. Rox.KIS fought that pretty well, but their lineup is very strong in the mid game. And keep in mind, Vost at this stage of the game not really doing too much other than Spirit Lance damage. So overall, Navi gonna be pretty pleased. As actually Vost gonna go for the Vlad, so he's not gonna go for a late game build. He's saying, alright, let's try to end this game ASAP. We have a significant advantage. And Dendy with that fast BKB already finished Funnick with the dagger, as he is gonna blink ahead, just cast some maxes. I thought he was thinking of initiating. So I'm not too sure when Vost necessarily went for the Vlads. You can understand that it's a very strong pushing aura. You don't get Vlads to sort of lifesteal all that much. You do have a couple melee heroes on your side, Phantom Lancer, but keep in mind illusions don't lifesteal. This is mostly for the damage increase as well as the armor aura that it gives to your team, as Leicester is going to get slain by Rubik, or Leicester does manage to get the pick off on Rubik. Meanwhile, Dendy's going to get purged up. Forced to use his 10-second BKB just to run away, as Open Wounds is going to use Rox.KIS, suddenly looking a bit more powerful, but Illuminate just destroying the HP of Rox.KIS. BCZ forced to retreat. Vost is on the offensive. Wonder Serial Lance will spell the end of that, as Solo is going to get caught out by Roar. BCZ is going to rotate in, trying to pick off Funnick, but Solo will most certainly die. Vost has more than enough mana, will finish up the last hit, as Funnick going to be chased away by BCZ. Trap is going to be popped, but the trap just barely lifts on the Leicester. Leicester going to go back in, but keep in mind the board does slow Leicester through his rage. Does not matter. Funnick will end up dying, as Havost is back on the hunt. Still has a lot of mana for your lances. Dread gonna be in the midst of everything. Just so much havoc being spread all over the map. Dendy finally dies, but Phantom Winter gonna be more than happy to snatch up the kill. BZZ trying to roam back in, but he's being pinned by 3 heroes and will not escape from the wrath of Navi, as Navi ultimately, I think it was another 3-for-3 engagement. May was a 3-for-4. But this time Vost picked up so much experience, so many levels. But yeah, back to Vlad's. Helps you push a bit faster with the Leicester on your creeps, gives you more damage, more armor. Very, very cost efficient item in terms of pushing, but I think Navi, if they want to play for the early game, could have it, and I think by going for this mid-game lineup build, or mid-game build, they might give Rox.KIS a bit more hope in terms of saying, alright, we can still fight, guys. Havos went for Vlad's. We can still take these team fight engagements. There is nothing worse than spring. I hate spring so much. Fucking allergies. I swear to God. Allergies are overall just a miserable experience. Oh man, I miss the days of 40-degree weather. Well, it's still technically 40 degrees, it just happens early. But dang, spring sucks. Meanwhile, the Hawk are going to be used to scout out the area. Just check out the item rushing. Kuroki with that kill secured himself a dagger. Mech has been fished by Puppy. Phonic gonna go for the Necrobook most likely, or it could be a 4-step. Either way, could be very useful for Phonic. Necrobook would help sort of seal the deal and prevent Nyx from initiating in on you. 4-step can help save the lives of your allies. Dendi with the BKB gonna get infest bombed by the Nyx assassin, as well as the Lightstealer. Dust Appearance gonna be forced as Dendi gonna try to get the heck out of there. Will be able to escape. Actually gonna turn onto Yo. Meanwhile, Beastmaster does manage to kill off the Shouty Dread, spinning like a ballerina in the middle lane. Yo gonna get pursued on the top lane. In the meanwhile, will get picked off by Havost. We're gonna see a teleport in by the Tinker. No, Tinker decides better of it, as Mel gonna do an insane amount of damage against the Lightstealer. Lightstealer will be able to escape. I think if Navi really want to try to get the kill, they could have gotten the kill, but decide better against it. Meanwhile, Axe in the middle lane gonna get chopped to pieces by the Beastmaster, saying, my axes are better than yours. 2 axes, always better than 1. And in this game, it's hard to disagree with this Beastmaster.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, the Vlad's gonna help amplify the push, give the creeps a bit more armor, a bit more HP, and this team all a boost in terms of damage. And Rox.KIS in a great amount of danger, as they're in risk of losing their tier 2. As keep in mind, Rox.KIS took 0 kills from that previous engagement. They lost 3 for nothing, as they were spread thin all over the map. Solo trying to do whatever he can to counter push, but the Phantom Electricians are proving to be very annoying, as Dendi gonna roam all the way back in solo with the laser as well as the Impale. Nice BKB dodging the Impale, as BZZ gonna take a roar right to the face. Puppy charging his laser. Dread is gonna take a lot of damage, as well as the Shadow Demon Vance score. But Rox.KIS being close to their base can heal up relatively easily, and it is difficult fighting against the March machines. So I guess that's why Navi went for the Vlads, because as I said earlier, it's difficult to push against Cupidite, but it's also difficult for Navi to push against a Tinker. But they do have one more reliable way. They have a Blinking Beastmaster to help roar and shut down the Tinker. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dendi's next time would be a Blink Dagger himself, just to help melt down that Tinker. As Tinker, 2100 gold in the bank, gonna look to secure his dagger most likely, as he is very, very close to doing so. But Dagger Tinker, all that will do is help you survive a bit more, maybe get you a couple more safer split pushing options. But other than that, what will it really do for you? You won't really initiate into Navi with a Lifestealer bomb, I don't think, when there's a roar on the other side of the equation. So I'm not too sure. But the only way that Rox.KIS can probably keep themselves in the game is just by pushing out the waves as much as possible, and the safest way to do that is with the Blink Dagger. But still, it's just a desperate situation that Rox.KIS are in overall. Let's check on the net worth really quickly. You can see of us after that miserable time in the aggressive Trine at the beginning, and even then it wasn't totally a miserable experience, has managed to climb his way on top of the net worth chart, as 3 of the top 5 net worth heroes are on the side of Navi. The first 3 heroes in terms of net worth are all on the side of Navi. Meanwhile, Beastmaster gonna pick up the Necrobook. Kuroki managed to steal Impale, as Nyx failed to hide it. And Impale, again, like I've mentioned in my previous cast, is such a good spell to steal. Meanwhile, Dread being hunted down in the jungle, as Hanartes finally finished his Diffusal Blade. And now it's just looking grimmer and grimmer by the second for Rox.KIS. I'm not too sure how they can honestly take an engagement. Dread is just being relentlessly killed, and Navi looking to secure the second Roshan of the game. And with this, I think they might try to secure themselves the tier 2 and perhaps even the tier 3 and the Rax. And there's really nothing that Rox.KIS can do to contest this, as they lost their primary tank in the form of Axe, who doesn't even have a dagger, is very far away from getting anything. Meanwhile, Havost just going to split push up on the bottom lane. I think they'll give the Aegis to Dendi once again, as Havost is just usually staying in the back line, sparing the Lance, and Dendi is playing a bit more aggressively. And Dendi has a gem, so yes, it will go for Dendi, as Dendi does have to get up close in your face to do the majority of his DPS. Meanwhile, Havost can sort of cast his abilities from afar, as Kroki's going to blink in. The Impale just barely was, and here comes the Spirit Lance being popped onto Yols, taking a lot of damage as that Phantom Lance illusion hunting down the Rubik, or hunting down the NA relentlessly. And meanwhile, the tier 2 tower going to be cleaned up as well. Taking a look at the goal graph, Na'Vi taking more and more of a lead. Rox.KIS have only taken down 1 tower, meanwhile Na'Vi taking down 4 towers, and they're going to look for a 5th, as it seems like they are trying to end the game relatively soon. Actually, they're just going to go back, defend their base, or defend their tier 2 on the top lane. And again, like I mentioned previously, you can do this with Keeperlight, because Keeperlight can easily recall Havost back into the fray of things. Well, he can't do so anymore because his ultimate is on cooldown, but Havost will be more than happy to take this time to farm up. Going to be looking to secure himself Diffusal Blade level 2, and then probably go for a VIP booster so he can get himself a bit more survivability. You know, BZZ is the highest farm tier on the side of Rox.KIS. He's managed to overtake the Beastmaster at the very least. But again, a single target DPS hero against a Phantom Lancer will just not have a good time, as Lifestealer is pretty mana dependent, and once that rage is down, Phantom Lancers will just go to work on the NA, draining all of his, or on that Nyx, draining all of his mana and doing so much extra damage. Meanwhile, Yol with the Haste Rune, trying to make something happen with the Lifesteal Infest, but Na'Vi just staying as 5 for the most part, and staying where they have the most map control and the most vision. Meanwhile, Necrobook level 2 will be up very shortly on the side of the Beastmaster, as Dread getting close to that dagger. Maybe with that, Rox.KIS have a way to get themselves back in the game through a solid way of initiating engagements. But again, it's very, very unlikely. As keep in mind, Na'Vi do have a couple of daggers on their own part. Rubik and Beastmaster can afford to stay back. Only Templar Assassin has to really get up close and in your face. And TA herself has a dagger, so she can potentially stay back. She managed to fortify her damage with the Crystallis as well. Puppey, saving up a lot of gold, has just been the primary warder, as Havost just going to man up, try taking the tower, but March to them is just very, very difficult to overcome. But slow and steady wins the race. Na'Vi eventually sieges down the tower with the mechanism help, as we're going to see engaging. Actually, Dendi, with the help of the Beastmaster, managed to pick up a kill on the Tinker. Tinker does not look like he has buyback. Yol going to get pursued. Blinding Light to push the NA back. Axe is going to buy back, but honestly, what can Axe hope to do? Yol is going to buy back as well, as Lifestealer going to roam in, trying to focus on Puppey, but the Diffusal and the Purge just going to drain away. Dread trying to pick up a kill on Puppey. Instead, will get re-engaged upon Mel, doing a lot of damage, as Yol will with the Impale. Kuroki gonna stun in place. Just relentless amounts of damage being taken by Na'Vi. Dendi saying, I don't care about your NA spike care for Cyber Fraction. Just gonna man up and do a shit ton of damage. And Na'Vi will take down the middle lane of Barracks. Dread and NA have already bought back. We're gonna see a blink in engaging. Gonna pick up the kill on Lifestealer, and I think this might very well be GG. Dendi has not even used his Aegis, and Na'Vi could potentially rotate for the bottom set of barracks. But Rox.KIS, this is game 3 of the grand finals. If they lose this, they are out, and they do not want to go down without a fight. Tinker, I guess he messed up his blink queuing time by just a bit, or I think the Illuminate was actually casted, so it would disrupt the blink timing before the Tinker could even teleport to the lane, as he can usually shift queue the blink to make sure you never take damage. But it is difficult against an Illuminate, which is a challenging ability, and Na'Vi just cleaning up faces left and right. GG, well played, is the call by the Tinker solo. And Na'Vi, in commanding fashion, gonna take down Rox.KIS in the 3rd game, winning the series 2-1, only dropped 1 game the entire tournament, beating teams like Fnatic and Mouse, taking down Rox.KIS in the grand finals. Na'Vi finally looking like the bootcamp has paid off, and they're gonna look to prove themselves in the G1 qualifiers, try to get that TI3 invite, and they are looking very, very strong indeed, as I think they are back at the top of the food chain for the European scene after a couple months where they weren't looking nearly as strong, even with Funnick and Kuroki replacing Arzai and Light of Heaven. But finally, I think it might be safe to say that Na'Vi is back, and they are looking almost as good as ever.
Radiant's middle tower.
It is still relatively early, but Navi going to be very content. They took home $12,000. Rox.KIS can't be too sad. They took home 7K, which is definitely not a small amount of money,
Radiant's middle
considering that I think the flights in the hotel were paid for by ESL.
attack. Radiant's
But keep in mind, this LAN tournament series will be run 3 more times, so shoutouts to Raidcall and the ESL for putting on this tournament. 3 more LAN tournaments will be happening in the separate quarters of the year, but hopefully you enjoyed that game. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the series, and more content will be coming to you very, very shortly, so keep on supporting, keep on subscribing, and I will see you all next time. Peace.